a chance to. Oh, now we're live. Let me introduce this. Okay. Good morning. Um, a hair late today. I just finished watching New Horizons, which we'll talk about. It's. I was actually really wanting to watch Prey because when I went on there, even last night, it was ready to watch, and I'm like. Yep. But I watched New Horizons instead, so we could talk about it today. But anyway, so good morning. It is August 5th. It is Friday. That means it's the special nerd edition of Morning Tea with me and Rob. And yeah, we're going to talk about New Horizons and some of the stuff that's coming up. I was about to before introducing. So my Batleth. Ooh. With a Bram.
Ooh, your Brampleth.
Yeah. So I was thinking, as you know, one of the traditional ways to hold it is here.
Right.
And then that fits right in there to almost give support.
Yeah.
For that hook around. And it was funny because I went up to, Bram was thinking, if we had jimping along here like we actually do on, you could grab and capture. And so when I was showing Lisa, it's one of those where a warrior would only kill somebody facing them. They would not kill somebody from the back. So I grabbed, so she was just facing away from me. I grabbed her shoulder, pulled her around, and beheaded
Took her head. I like it.
So yeah, now I just it's just a rough cut. I got to sand it down. And I was actually thinking about just going as far as just staining it and sealing it.
Yeah.
So, but I made two. I just bought a 48 by 24 piece at Home Depot, and I got two pieces out of it.
Nice.
So theoretically, I should be able to get 8 out of an 8 foot slab. So
yeah,
you're spending $60 or however much it is. I think prices haven't changed that much on
not
plywood.
Recently.
So
not recently.
So I think it's like $58 plus, if I don't pay taxes, if I go into Portland, $58, but say $60 on 8 of them.
Yeah.
That's less than $10 a piece just for
the base template,
just for the base. And then, the time, I mean, I could easily turn these, if I could basically for what, $70, I could have, well, if we go to, I could have 10 at my school for a class, or just decide to, like, if I wanted to actually sell them, I could sell them. But I don't know. Now it's finding a guy. Now I think if I really wanted one made out of metal, then doing that. And actually, I might even go as far as red paracord around here on each one, and see how that's. So I don't know. I might actually maybe even thin this out just a little bit and thin this out so I can get the paracord.
Yeah, I definitely round the edges out so it's a little bit thinner there. So that way when you do the wrap itself, it's still not this kind of grip. It'll actually give you more of a regular grip.
Yeah. And when Bram was talking, is like right here in the center, because of course when you go blade to blade, it's going to chip your blade.
Right.
Okay. But if we have the actual, like we give a certain amount of space on each side, and this would be just a flat, strong piece. And then the sharp starts here and goes, and then the sharp would continue here. Then we could go up and block straight up like they do in the show. And it's not actually blade against blade. It's actually a stop
against blunt.
And then you don't have to worry about chipping your blade because it's designed to be that way.
Yeah. I think that's great.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So I'd love to find somebody who actually can cut this out of metal and actually have like and because I could probably put jimping in the wood, but it would look so much nicer on metal through metal.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. We'll see.
That's cool. That's cool though.
Yeah. So and getting it I'm like I had, you know, I got my little foam core thing that I just traced out. So, you know, nice stencil that
easiest way to do it.
Nice and
easiest way to do it.
Yeah. So okay. So the one major show this week has been New Horizons. Now just to say, I have not finished last week's episode because I keep on falling asleep during it.
Yeah.
So I this week's episode, there were some things that I thought were interesting about it. I mean, it still stayed with the continuity of bringing up old episodes.
Right.
So of course they bring back that one gal from
the Twitterverse. I can't remember the planet, but it's the Twitter. It's the cancel culture.
Yes, yeah, it's the cancel culture, and it's so funny because they're obviously they're very Star Trek-ish in aligning what her world is to how our world is right now.
Right.
And of course, you know, what is it? You know, a replicator would change the face of the world.
Absolutely.
But looking at our world now, yeah, the rich would be like, yeah, no, we're gonna profit off of this, and not everybody's gonna have it.
Yeah, and I think they did a really good job from that ethical standpoint when they were talking about that a lot, where it didn't put it again in a Republican Democrat camp and say you have to be this, you have to do this. It literally just said, listen, it's just nature that the mindset that exists currently, just like it did in our 21st and 22nd centuries, or 20th and 21st centuries, as you said.
Yeah.
The rich would get rich and the poor would get poorer, and that would just change the dynamics and slow the potential growth. And I'm like, you're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong. And it doesn't matter where you sit on a political spectrum. The ethical elements, right, where they really dove into their version of the Prime Directive, I liked it because it was that I understand your best intentions. This is my message coming away from it, right?
Yeah.
Best intentions don't end out to also have best results.
Right.
And just because you're trying to help somebody and you think you're doing the right thing, it could be catastrophic. And when they showed that world and said, here's how we fucked up.
Right.
We showed up. We were, hey, you got to be like us. We're going to give you all this stuff. 3 years later, this place is a wasteland filled with mutants because they used it for ill-gotten gains and destroyed their own world. That was pretty powerful to me in a good way, where it does make you sit there and go, you know, just because you want to help, just because you're being pulled from your heartstrings, like I can give,
right,
doesn't mean you should. And I'll give you an example. Like I've done a lot of work in Haiti. I spent probably about 3-4 months in Haiti. And one of the trips we had done, we were trying to explain to one of the missionaries there that was coming down with us, like, listen, as we get to the airport, there's going to be kids everywhere asking for, you know, selling pencils. Please do not give them any money. Give them nothing. I know it's not what you think is the right thing, but please don't do it. It's for their best interest. Well, it's one guy just thought, you know, his shit didn't stink, and the rest of us were idiots.
Yeah.
So this little kid comes up with a cup full of pencils, and he buys all of them for $20.
Yeah.
Gives this kid a $20 bill. And the other guy that was there helping with security, we're watching, and the kid goes running out to the outside of the gate, this $20 bill, and he told the guy, he said, you're going to watch. He's like, it's just a kid. He's going to be fine. He goes, no, you're going to watch. And he watched this kid get the crap kicked out of him. The kid was like 7 or 8.
Right.
Watched this kid get the crap kicked out of him. and they took his money and everything else he had. They were cops. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And off these guys went. And he said, you did that to that kid. You didn't listen to us. You did that to that kid. We can't stop them. We have no jurisdiction. We have no authority. He goes, that $20 might not be much to you, but that's more than his family would have made in a year. And you put a bullseye in the back of the kid's head because you thought you knew better.
Right.
And when I watched this episode, that story popped back in my head, and I'm like, it's the same kind of thing. You are putting this bullseye because your intention is good, right? It's good to help people. You have, they have not, you want to share. Got it. That's not everybody. It's not everyone's mindset. So I applaud them on how they did it. I think they did it really well.
Now, if we had Captain Pike there, the irresponsible Captain Pike, he would have just been like, join us.
Yeah.
Join us. Come here.
Become a member of us. We're going to get rid of your thing that you call cancel culture. Everyone just upvote it. And, we're going to turn Twitter Reddit land into the Federation's #1 outpost. That's cool.
That is what kind of popped in my head. It's like, well, I think Pike would do it differently. I think he'd just beam down there and be like, yeah, just join us.
It's cool.
But it is, they knew about the ship. So, I mean, there was already, something there.
Right.
So the situation was a little bit different, but I couldn't help that thought popping into my head. It's like, well, Pike would have done it differently.
Yeah. Well, and at the same time, right, I guess when you look at it from, if you have to do a comparative, this would be more comparative to Next Generation. So maybe the Pike comparison would have been more in tune with or aligned with the, I never can remember, the Federation Alliance, what the hell they call it. Anyway, the New Horizons Federation.
The Union. The Planetary Union. Yeah.
The Union going out and doing that very well could have been a Pike. That very well could. Hey, join us. It's cool. Oh. That's not my fault. I didn't do that. I mean, I helped it. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things I liked about it was it did take more of that Next Generation approach of like, listen, we don't have to like it, but we know why we have to follow it. Which also talks about not hiding behind history, not rewriting history, but admitting elements that were not good. It was kind of a little subtext there, but some of the stuff they did this episode was really good.
Yeah,
but mid-season episode.
Yeah, it was not a season finale, which they'll probably surprise us with an episode 11. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah, but
probably.
Yeah, it was definitely not. It was a very I don't know if you told me it was if I defined it as a mediocre season finale. I don't know if that's how you defined it.
I called it a mid-season finale.
Mid-season finale. Yeah. It's just it was very mediocre. I mean, it was just kind of like one of those, there's no, good morning, Gordon. How are you, sir? It was interesting. Starting it with a wedding and ending it with a wedding. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just I'm anti-robot. I don't get the relationship. I really don't. I don't. Yeah.
He can do things that are no longer battery operated that the rest of us can't, I think. Maybe it's just sexual nature. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting. It is an interesting dynamic, and it did not. One of the elements of comedy that I kind of saw that was going to happen, right, is when Isaac calls Prime and says, and it is human tradition to invite one's immediate families to this ceremony.
Yeah.
And it says, okay, we'll leave a small contingent of defense here and we'll be there. And I'm like, shit, he's got everybody coming.
Yeah, exactly.
This is going to be bad real quick. And it was Kama was like, we have 4,000 Kaylon ships. They did it again. They screwed us over. And it's like, wait, no, they're here for the wedding. So like it was comical without being super like hilarious. But I'm kind of fearful that we have the Kaylons that did at some point present this really horrible threat to the Union.
Mm-hmm.
Now are going to be relegated as lacking in common sense, and because of their lack of humanity. And here we go from not but 3 episodes before, we will obliterate all of you to, hey, look, we're all intermingling at this cocktail party after the wedding. It's so cute. It's like, which I get, it's foreshadowing for the dangers to come, whatever. But again, a good season finale would have at the end of it shown us some kind of threat.
Yeah.
Now playing out a really nice song.
So Gordon has a good, he says, that's the kind of episode that they do when they haven't got their show picked up for additional seasons yet.
And that's true. And I don't know if it got picked up for a season 4. So, I mean, Gordon, to your point, if they're done, it was actually a really good way to wrap everything up. The downside, in my opinion, looking at the season as a whole, is we put some other threads out there that, truthfully, maybe we didn't need to. The Krill got addressed for the most part. We know Ed's daughter's out there somewhere, but we don't know where. We have that alien race that was super cool in the void of space, but never heard about them.
It was an alien. It was an alien of the week.
It was, which is disappointing because it was so cool and it was so well done. And it's like, we shall return for you. Ooh, really? Oh,
like,
no, not really.
Maybe in a season finale, that would have been a good, like, we're back.
Even if it's, again, I'm all about subtleties.
Yeah.
Even if it were something where, you see Orville flying off and you just see this one ship slowly creeping up behind them.
Right.
And then it goes to black. Be like, the hell was that?
Yeah.
You got me. Whether there's another season or not didn't matter. You got me. But
exactly.
Actually, I want to see, because I don't think they were picked up yet. But then again, I also kind of remember hearing something about they had done like a season 3, season 4. Let's see, Orville.
Or how many seasons did Hulu buy them for? Because
no, so they have the option. Sorry, I'm just skimming through this article I found. They have the option for season 4, 5. Let's see. First 2 seasons, blah blah blah. Come on, get to it. So they don't know. So yeah. So seasons 4 and 5 were an option for Hulu or Disney, whoever you want to put the blame on. No one's pulled the trigger yet. So, again, Gordon, you had a great point. This really, as far as if this was a series ender, it ended on a happy note. Everything's right in the world, and we understand there's threats out there, but we did our deal, we had our show, and we got some happy endings. So if this is what it is, if it's a series finale, I'm actually okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm actually okay with it. As a season finale, no, but a series finale, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I want to say that when he actually when Mercer's standing up there and he said, and he talks about one of the joys of being a starship captain and going all the way back to the sailing ships, I was like, where's the Romulans?
Right.
Are the Romulans going to show up? Because I was like, that was verbatim out of
I was waiting for that too. Or I was waiting for that moment of, where are we? What's going on here? Do you you like guess get mad? Oh, red alert! Thank God, and just walk off. But no, I mean, and it is kind of a scripted, cookie cutter style speech, but it was touching where you have Ed and Kelly holding hands at the end.
I did kind of like that. to speed up stuff, once what's his nuts started singing, I was just like, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. Oh, they're holding hands. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10. Oh, we're panning outside the ship. The episode is over. And where are all the Kaylon ships that were supposed to be here? Why is it just them? I see I already have continuity issues. Like where did somebody fire the editors and they had to use old video?
or it was, hey, if we put all those ships back in, we're gonna have a real hard time getting this out on time. Cut it. No one's gonna care. But the guy that plays Gordon has a great voice.
Yeah.
And I applaud the fact that Seth MacFarlane, who is a huge fan of musicals anyway, is giving him that stage to sing. That's great. I don't think I needed it 3 episodes back to back.
Yeah.
I also really didn't quite find it comical to have Bortus as the best man for a hot minute. Like, I get it. I get it. But again, I know I'm Monday, Tuesday morning quarterback here. I would have looked at it from the standpoint of, I would have just had Bortus gotten drunk and start doing that. I could have been the best man. I can make it funny.
Right.
And then done that same thing where, all kidding aside, you're a horrible human being, all kidding aside. You're a robot and try to wipe out all of existence, all kidding aside. Like,
yeah.
And then Gordon have him go, hey, all right, buddy. Well, hey, listen, thank you for warming up the crowd. Let's get this toast. Something like that would have, I feel, might have played better. But again, with a lot of the writing of the season, the segue moments of the scripts seems to be where it's really lacking. And to me, that's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's that really rough segue where it could have been done better. Maybe he just got up there and misunderstood and was doing a flat out roast of everybody.
Yeah.
And coming close to war, that would have been kind of more comical than just really bad one-liners that
weren't funny at all. They were more just facts. In fact, okay, so this
which might have been what the joke was. Right?
Yeah. So one of the thoughts that I had about the whole doctor and Isaac relationship is this a metaphor for a single woman who has a serious mental health issue, who wants to marry her vibrator?
I mean, Isaac is no batteries required. So, I mean,
it's that, because that's all I've never understood the relationship. So if it's something that is not understood, what are they trying to tell us? Are they trying to tell us that it's okay for unhappy single women to fantasize that their vibrator is a real human being, because in the simulator he is flesh and blood,
right?
And that's okay? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, so like I come at it from several different angles, right? One of them, this is the Orville's version of Data Tasha Yar.
Yeah, fail.
Yeah. And if it did, if she wasn't written off, right, would that have developed into a relationship? Probably not. But could it? Sure. Would it have been portrayed this way? I don't think so, but apparently Brandon Braga does. So that's one thing, right? That's one angle to take. The other one, when you're starting to look for things, is it the emotions that are involved in the relationship, or is it the acts that they do for them, right? So from an emotion, my wife and I were talking about it, because she did the same thing. She's like, she's marrying a vibrator? Like, no, I mean, kind of, but and so we're joking about it, and I was explaining the whole thing to her, and she's like, I feel like it was saying it's okay to be in a loveless marriage as long as they treat you and your kids okay.
Oh my God.
Now, think about that from someone who hasn't really watched Orville, right?
Wow.
That was her take. And I went,
oh, that is that is so not okay.
Wow.
It's okay to be in a loveless marriage as long as they treat you fine.
But look at the relationship.
And even their vows.
Right.
Like,
I will never love you.
I will never love you. Yeah. But
so I don't
oh my God.
I don't know, right? I don't know if anybody in the writer's room gave any of this thought. Because I like the actors. I like the way the guy plays Isaac, even when he's in his flesh and blood, so he's not constantly in that suit. He does the exact mannerisms, no changes, the inflections. I mean, he is brilliant. Of course, gotta love Penny. I mean, she's phenomenal actress, period. But I don't know if anybody ever gave this thought to what we're doing. Now, if they did it where if they did it where he did get the emotions or some elements of the emotions, right? That's what really led to this, where it's, why do you want to marry me? And I did think they were going to go that direction when he was like, listen, I don't like being away from you. I will watch over you and your children and all your descendants for all time. I was like, okay, that's a pretty strong romantic sentiment. Like, that's pretty dope for something that's never going to die, theoretically. Like, that's really sweet. Oh my God, are they going to give him, like, he has elements of emotion, like he's kind of got it, and it's slowly reprogramming him, and that would be no. Again, missed opportunities. I don't know why. Right. But that was, to me, that's a missed opportunity where in that moment, doing the vows, if he said something like, I don't love you, but I think every day I'm learning how to more and more. Oh my God. Everyone had been like, oh my God, he's becoming human. This is amazing. And they just, again, they missed some of these opportunities to stay true to a character that's changing, but not.
Right.
And it gives off that, whether you got a woman marrying her vibrator or you got it saying single women with kids need to be in a loveless marriage as long as they treat you and your kids okay. I mean, the messaging there is not great. And again, they probably aren't thinking about any of it. They're messaging everything else.
Or they're just saying that that Cisco's wife needs to have a companion, but actually can't couple with her like Cisco could.
Right.
Yeah.
Because listen, I can't even say it.
Yeah. So
let's just say she was glowing more than the orbs of the prophet after Avery Brooks. You can't. That was the cleanest version I could come up with, Mitch. I'm sorry you had coffee in your tea in your mouth.
Okay. So, all right. So, scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this episode? Now, actually, we could probably look at it as a mid-season finale. What would your score be? And as a season finale, what would your score be?
No, I think that's a really good separator. So I think if this was a mid-season, I would give it a 7.
Okay.
Because I feel like it sets up for a clean slate. As a season finale, I'm going to add series finale in there with the mid-season. To me, mid-season series finale, 7. Yeah. As a season finale, I give it a 5.
Yeah,
it was entertaining. I sat through it, and I kept waiting.
It was. I didn't. I mean, even though I did have a full night's rest before watching it, I didn't feel bored. I mean, the story kept me going, but it was one of those where I was like, "We're going that direction."
Yeah.
Okay. And I like how they brought back. I can't remember her name, Alora. They brought her back at the end. just
She's
for
so
the
cute.
wedding.
She's so cute.
Yeah. So I like the fact that they brought her back, even if
Yep.
it was, just for the episode. I thought that was nice. So yeah, as a season finale, I think I would probably do like 4 or 5. It was just not like you don't need to have a cliffhanger as a season finale, but you need to have something to say. This is the end of the season.
Right.
Like, and the pan back of the ship in front of a beautiful star system, that doesn't do that. I mean, it has that intent, but it just doesn't do it. But as a regular episode, as a something to say this is a series finale, or I would, 7.5, something like that. Maybe even as 8, because I think that I really did enjoy this. I enjoyed the middle of the story, the book of the story. So like the 2 wedding things, they were nice. They weren't bad. It wasn't like you had this really great story with 2 shitty, a beginning and a shitty beginning and ending, like we had
with the Gordon time travel.
Yeah, with that episode. But so it was better set up. Mm-hmm. So you did have this, an interesting beginning and an interesting ending. But I like what they combated in the middle. So yeah, it was a good episode, but it wasn't. I was disappointed when it came to the whole season finale. So I'm kind of hoping for an episode 11, but we probably won't get it.
I don't think we will. I think if anything, we might get another season, but the problem is the amount of time, and I get that from a lot of different angles, but the amount of time it took to put this season out from the end of season 2 for this one, the amount of money, Disney's probably willing to pay it, but the question is there really enough of a fan base to support a season 4 or season 5?
Right.
And we just don't know, right? We don't know. And if they come out and announce it, cool. But again, if they say no, it ended well. I just wish engineer, his name escapes me.
Oh,
Lamar.
Yes.
Lamar. The fact that they kept alluding to the girl they brought in from the Twitterverse, saying like, Lamar really wants to see you.
Yeah.
And hearing that 4 or 5 times and never seeing the two of them connect ever, including at the wedding, I thought was a disservice to the script as well. And I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking. It's just something that I'm like, why? Why did we not just at least have that moment, even at the wedding, where it's just that awkward, hey. Again, now we have the potential for a happy ending. We've got Ed and Kelly holding hands. Laura's back. We know she's got this awesome, successful science career, and here's this potential for Lamar where he might have found now the one. I mean, who knows? Right. So I think there's some minor missed opportunities, which just seems to be par for the course for this season. And I don't know. I really don't know why. But for the season as a whole, at this point in time, I'm probably going to give it like I'm going to call it a 6.5.
Okay.
So I'm a 6 and a 7. Because it started off horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
And then we had some amazing episodes in the middle.
We did. And then we had some okay ones, and then we've had some good ones. So, we were talking about before we went on air. I do think, provided I can stay awake longer than 2.5 hours, thanks to my meds and stuff. But I do think I want to come up with a alternate watch list for this season and see if it makes it any better. I mean, it's going to obviously be different because we've seen it, right? But see if it holds my attention, see if it tracks a little bit better, and maybe put that out, because I always felt this had a lot of potential. And I still feel it has a lot of potential. But I feel like this season struggled between potential and what it was founded on, are we going to be Star Trek, or are we going to be what we wanted to be, which is similar but different?
Yeah.
And I feel like that really became the big struggle this entire season, was really re-identifying and rebranding themselves as the serious sci-fi show with some comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it worked.
Yeah.
I think it's serious, and I see where it went, and I think they've done well. But you could just cut the comedy, because sometimes those comedic bits were the ones that fell.
I mean, like, for me, I know that they were trying to be a more serious sci-fi show, but and I was like, we've talked about this before. I was expecting the Orville that we had seen for the last 2 seasons,
right?
And especially in the first couple episodes, we did not get that. And I totally get, you have to have some serious episodes, but if you have somebody, your fan base, expecting something, and then you give them something like, so coming up with like an alternate watch list of, okay, so here's your traditional, Orville episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and now we're going to combat something serious.
Right.
And you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. So.
Well, they bounced around too much. I almost feel like this thought just popped in my head, but when we got, most of these episodes are between 120 and 130 minutes.
Right.
So we have little mini movies every week, which I applaud them for. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
If we spaced it out a little bit more, right, and we only gave them hour to an hour and 5, right, 60 to 65 minutes, that would have got us another episode, maybe 2. Well, realistically more, but
if we look at a standard episode with commercials, if you're looking at an hour-long live program, episodes are 44 to 45 minutes long.
Right.
And so if we have these hour and a half, hour and 20-minute episodes, really we got a 20 episode season.
Right.
In reality.
Right.
So maybe 19. I'll conservative.
Which is still, regardless, it's still unheard of in TV to this day. And again, them doing 90-minute run shows, 120-minute run shows. This is not standard, even for streaming TV. Things are still only in those 55-minute, maybe an hour and 2 with credits, but that's your normal episodic show. So again, I give them a lot of credit. And I think they tried to do something, but the question is, do you go super experimental, or do you just like walking into a cold pool on a hot day, just take a step at a time? Don't jump in. Just take a step at a time, because you might jump in and start screaming underwater and drown because it's too damn cold. Or, you step in, you kind of get used to it and comfortable with it. And I think they could have stepped this season down into that. If we start off with Topa's story and then go to Isaac, which ends with the wedding, I think there was a way to do a step down like that, where by the time we get hardcore serious, it means a lot more.
Right.
You know what I mean? You really watch it and go, I'm glad we went from comedy to this. Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
But overall, I mean, I regardless of what I said when the season first started, if they do get signed for season 4, I will watch it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Left Turn at Albuquerque, you had sent me an article that we talked about. Obi-Wan season 2 needs to explore his sexuality.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Listen, so this is what you and I were talking about. And I talked to a Star Wars buddy of mine, because I saw that. And I sent to him. I'm like, because I love my buddy, and I'm not going to name him, but he can go a little wokey at times, which is not bad. A little is fine, whatever. And I said, what are your thoughts on this? And it was, why are we catering to the 1%, the loudest 1%, when 99% don't want it? And this is the problem, right? Star Trek Discovery, every other, all these other shows, we don't address sexuality. It's there, right? Mm-hmm. The chief medical officer, their names escape me, I apologize, but chief medical officer and the chief engineer on Discovery are two men happily married, separated, got back together, whatever. They go through the traumas. They're treated like a real couple, and they're not it's a gay couple. No, it's a couple. Yeah. It just so happens to be that they happen to be two men.
Yeah.
It is not done to shame, you're gay, shame. It's done to normalize, right? And to me, Star Wars always had that same thing. Sexuality never really came into anything. It doesn't matter. The most sexualization you've really had, to my knowledge, listen, guys, I'm on some pills, so doesn't mean I'm always right here, but to my knowledge was Leia in her slave Leia bikini outfit with Jabba the Hutt, right? Mm-hmm. I can't really think of another time. Well, and maybe some of the Twilight dancers at the Jabba's palace, but it's not really an overly sexual mythos. Right. It exists because it's human. Star Trek exists; it's human. But we address these things without being, bigoted or blanketed. Do we need to talk about Obi-Wan's sexuality? No. Why? Because it has no fucking bearing on any story you're going to tell me.
Right. Yeah.
It has none.
Like it's and it's like what was it? Mark Hamill. I know that he's he presents himself online as the way left, but like it's like, oh well, is Luke Skywalker gay? Well, if you want him to be gay, he's gay. I'm gonna take Shatner's thing and be like, no. Like the character was never presented straight or gay.
Right.
Doesn't fucking matter.
He's androgynous.
No, it doesn't matter. Like,
and like
even when you look at and I know that the books the books before Disney came out were considered an expanded universe, but because they were authorized by George, they were canon. Yes. And in canon, fucking Luke Skywalker got married to a woman.
He had a son.
And he had kids. Now, okay, do gay men get married and have kids? Sure. Yes, I've known a couple of them, because they want to hide their sexuality. But is that something that we need to explore? And I know we're probably both going to get canceled by this, but I have to ask the question. Is this something that needs to be explored in a children's storyline? Because George said Star Wars is for kids.
Right.
How did we all fall in love with Star Wars? We fell in love with Star Wars when we were kids, and we're taking that into our adulthood. Now, I think what did I say? It was my response was now from the article. Yeah. Okay. So from the article, I can see where the writer's coming from.
Sure.
The writer herself struggled and as a kid with sexuality and was like, wow, if I had some type of rope that was like, hey, it's okay to be this way or be that way and just be yourself.
Sure.
And she wanted to basically extend that rope. Okay, that's fine. But I have a problem of making it canon. Like I really like, and I think more the question is if it's an adult book, if it's written as a, mostly geared for adults, not like Shades of Grey adult story, but something that an adult would read as opposed to a young reader, I think I would give it a little bit more leeway. Mm-hmm. But if it is written, like if this story is geared towards youth readers, like even if the language in the book, because youth reader stories are of course, different from just the way that they're written, different from standardized, then that's an issue.
So
like but it's also, we've already explored his sexuality, and she addresses it in the article.
Right.
Like he's obviously straight, because he fell in love with the Queen of Mandalore or
Right.
one of the princes of Mandalore. But for her to be like, oh, well, let's explore it. Maybe a guy hits on him and he doesn't know what to do because, you know, the Jedi Order has said, you know, you can't fall in love. And then he realizes that, okay, well, a guy hit on me, but I really like women.
But see, so here,
why does that need to be in the story though?
Right. That was one of the things that in that article.
Yeah.
What gets me with that, right? And I look, I agree. I think diversity and inclusion is important. I do think that people should see representations of themselves, regardless of how it is done. And I think it should be done in a normalized way, right? Not a sensationalized way. I don't want to see the stereotypes on screen. I want to see people that it's like, you're gay, yeah, and well, I just didn't realize. Sorry, I don't care. You know, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
It's one of those things where when you say, and again in her article, that we explore his sexuality and it turns out he's straight, you have to look at that from the opposite end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're saying to the LGBTQ community, it's potential that your fan fictions or, you know, your theories or whatever could be correct, and we're gonna have Obi-Wan Kenobi be gay,
mm-hmm.
or bisexual or questioning or whatever, and then they come out and go, he's straight. What kind of backlash? I mean, you literally just slapped them across the face and said, come play. You're here, back up. And,
right.
I don't think it's needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mark Hamill's statement of Luke being gay, while I disagree with how he said it, the point of it being, because in what is now canon is not addressed, we never will know. So you, as the viewer, you as the fan, you get to live in that element in your mind. And I'm okay with that. I am. I'm totally fine with somebody says, hey, my Luke Skywalker's gay, my Luke Skywalker's bisexual, my Luke Skywalker. That's cool, man. I got no problem with that. That's your fandom. That's your world. But again, I don't think it, just because we're talking about a lot of this stuff culturally in today's society, in the moment we're in now, I don't think it needs to pierce every element of every mythos that's out there, because of the fact that you are going to, as an individual, identify with people on screen in ways that is going to help you feel included without having to have someone up there and be like, hi, I'm gay and I'm in Star Wars. Come on, play with, you don't need some kind of over the top bullshit. I, as a kid, identified with R2-D2, and we've talked about that before, and Boba Fett. Boba Fett was the armor that I wore every day to shield myself of being picked on and being that little kid. And that was where my mind went.
Right.
I know this, right? So that's the character I identified with. They could have come out at any point in time and been like, Boba Fett is Black, Asian, Middle Eastern, an alien race. I still would have identified with it because the character that I saw and I felt connected to in the moment. I know as a straight white male, whatever, it's going to be what it's going to be. I have plenty of friends in the community, including people I do direct work with, my radio station, that agree with those statements, right? They're like, there's a difference between inclusion and good storytelling, inclusion and good casting, inclusion and creating harmful stereotypes that are not necessary, that actually do more harm than good, so you can get the gay quota.
Right.
Or the Black quota or the Hispanic quota or whatever. And I feel like that the idea of a season 2 for Obi-Wan, first of all, I don't think we need it. If we do, it needs to explore his relationship with Qui-Gon as a father and how he gains more and whatever. I don't think we need it. And I don't think we ever really need to explore some of these characters' sexualities. Do that in your own writing, do that in fan fiction, do that online, do that in your mind, because there are going to be other projects that can and should, much like Star Trek, bring these to the surface in a normalized fashion where we don't have to shove shit down your throat. No pun intended for those that think that's a pun. We're not just browbeating you with stuff. We're literally just saying, It exists.
Right.
It's normal. Over it.
Yeah.
Which to me is the lesson across the board. But when you constantly put a spotlight on something, eventually it gets watered down or beaten up or done in the wrong manner. And is it needed? No. Not everything has to be about someone's sexuality.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's I think when we start exploring that, and, you know, this is just from like you said, just, you know, a straight white male's point of view, is that it's not needed. Just presented as something that's normal.
Yeah.
And people will see it as normal.
Well, I mean, we go back to what you and I talked about before. When Uhura and Kirk kissed.
Mm-hmm.
As kids, we didn't go, oh, he kissed a black girl. We went, oh, Kirk kissed Uhura.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we remember.
Yeah.
We don't remember that this is the first interracial kiss on television. We don't remember all the uproar it created. We don't remember all the backlash and all the hatred and all the other bullshit. It normalized a relationship immediately between a gentleman that was white and a woman that was African American, but it was the characters that were like, I can't believe he did that. There was nothing else.
Yep.
And I think, again, that's normalizing, right? You know, I've dated women of different ethnicities. You dated a married woman of a different ethnicity. You know, is that partly because of Trek? I don't know. It doesn't matter. What it did was it took away the category and say, oh, well, you can only do this and you can only do this. And it showed us that you could do anything. And I think that having that visualization and storytelling is becoming a lost art because, again, you want to normalize it. And I will give Discovery all the credit in the world when it comes to how they've normalized homosexuality, transgender, binary, all that stuff. It's there on the show. The actors talk about it, but the show doesn't address it. It just exists.
Right.
And I mean, look, my daughter is bisexual. She's going through some of the questioning of, you know, am I a them? Am I a she? You know, whatever. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. Completely support her. And that's where she sees this stuff. And she's like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Other people, it's not just people on TikTok. You know, it's, I see these other stories and these other people and they're struggling or they're getting through it. And that's not holding them back. Oh my God, it shouldn't hold me back either. And to me, that's that normalization, right? That's where you normalize those elements and you create that story and you help show it from that standpoint of this doesn't define you. It's just a part of you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's my soapbox, ladies and gentlemen. This has been brought to you by Oxycodone.
There was something else that you had sent me about Andor and it being confirmed for 2 seasons and only 2 seasons, which I really think is good.
Yes,
I like that. I like that that because how far can you draw it out? And we don't. And like it's what is it? I think it's supposed to happen somewhere in the timeline of Rebels.
Yes.
So, you know, 4 to 5 years before Rogue One. I had actually typed a response to you sending me that, but of course, like many things I do, I didn't press send. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got an idea, and this is for all the stupid people out there. And I know we have one person watching. I'm gonna guess it's Bobby because the eyeball came up and the only Facebook like is Bobby. So Bobby, if you're there, say hi. Anyway, so and Bobby can get in on this. I think that we should start a rumor that season 2 of Andor is supposed to be his adventures after the Empire falls.
Yes.
And see how many people buy that. It's like, no, we saw him evaporate on that island, on that planet.
Yeah.
But sure, he's going to be alive. You know, he meets up with Mando and, you know.
Listen, he found the one spot, just like Indiana Jones found the one perfect refrigerator to hide from a nuclear blast. He found the one spot. He survived.
he found a 1950s. He and it was only space. It was only he found the one 1950s refrigerator to hide in, and there was only space for him. You can't fit two people in here. Can't fit two people. Who's going to survive?
Now he's out for revenge against Vader. By disguising himself as a third sister. I mean, wait, no.
Yeah. So I don't know. I had to throw that out there.
That's awesome. I'm totally fine with that. No, I agree. Two seasons is gonna be good because it's a really solid story. Again, if they do it well, because Rogue One was brilliant. Yeah. I have no complaints off of Rogue One. The only complaint I've ever had was the whole like what happened to the Bothans. Then you say a whole bunch of Bothans died to get you this information. They were the Bothans. They couldn't tell you that it was the secret op, right? I get it. I'm cool.
That was but that was actually in relationship to the Death Star number 2.
Right.
Not Death Star number 1. Yeah. And but there was that one creature when they finally got into when the rebels actually got into the planet before the shield closed. You did have that one creature that was sitting on the edge as a gunner shooting. That's kind of fuzzy. Yeah. I always figured, was that a Bothan? But
they're feline like that.
But but somebody said no, that's not a. I don't know. Somebody came out and said no, that is not a Bothan, because the whole Bothan relationship was for the other stuff. So,
I think.
And didn't my memory could be failing me, but in Timothy Zahn's trilogy, didn't Luke interact with Bothans? He was on some planet, and
he was trying to figure out where the Emperor's clone was. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he's trying to.
Yeah, he was on a planet, and I guess there were some Bothans that helped him out, and he references. Like these are the same race that got the information for Death Star 2.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since I've read those novels.
Yeah, I kind of want to break them back out and read them again, but it's been retconned, so what's the point? I have all of them up until they retconned, and I'm like, well, all these awesome adventures with Luke and Leia and Han and Ben and the twins, and it's all pointless. Now we have Mary Sue and Emo Ren.
I love that Emo Ren. Okay. Is there anything else?
I don't know. We got Prey, but we'll talk about that next week.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Prey will be a Thursday episode. Because I will be traveling on Friday.
That works.
I'll
be home recuperating, so it's not like I'm going anywhere.
Okay, so Bobby sent me this. Where's it? Why did it? I don't know why it came up with that. Okay. He forwarded a link, but when I try and click on the link, it takes me to make it bigger. It takes me somewhere else, but he sent. Let's see if I can center that. Don't fuck with the super glue.
Nice.
So. Okay. So, but now here's the thing though, going back to the Kenobi book, I kind of want to read it now. It makes me really interested.
Yeah. And maybe that was the point of the article. Sometimes some of these articles get written in ways that it creates that dialogue, right? And it might come out of a place where like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And you go, now I'm going to see how bad it was. Oh, it wasn't bad at all. That was actually pretty entertaining. Oh, that was a good book.
Now I have 4 credits on Audible, but we just haven't gotten any books recently, or my wife hasn't found out that we have 4 credits and she hasn't bought herself a bunch of books. Oh, and Bobby is still watching. He said that that picture actually made him laugh out loud. Yes.
Nice.
It was that was good. So I don't know if I want to waste a credit. It's one of those, I'm really interested, but if I could find a way to like go through, say, get the book from the library,
right,
or even get the audio book from the library, because I've rented audiobooks from libraries. So see if it's available that way, because I don't want to, that's the thing. Like, let's taking this to the extreme. Mm-hmm. The book White Fragility. It's the worst fucking book on the planet, but people are eating this shit up because all us white people need to have white guilt when it comes to the way that blacks were treated 400 years ago, and even today. So my wife bought the book because she's part of this book club, this equality book club, and so they were reading a bunch of books, and she's more of an audiobook person, so she has the hard copy and an audiobook of it. And so we actually listened to this book together. And you have this and we're not on completely different political spectrums. We see things pretty much the same, but we do have our differences. But her being black and me being white, listening to this book, this is like, I can't believe people are falling for this shit. This woman is making so much fucking money that it's insane, because people are like, oh, it's a travesty. So people go read it to see if it's really travesty. Right. And then people are saying, oh, it's so good, so they buy it. So people are buying it either way and making this woman money that she doesn't fucking deserve. Because she is a quack. All right, Bobby. See you later, sir. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah, it's so that's one of those where it's like, I'm interested, but I don't want to give this person any money unless, of course, it's good. But I don't want to, so I want to try and go about listening to it or reading it a legal way. So,
yeah, I think the library might be the best bet, because I mean, I've had that with other books where I've had stuff recommended to me, whether it's been political or whatever, and I think you might like this. Okay, so I take a look at it and go, wow, I'm glad I didn't spend that money. And there's been a few times I'm like, holy shit, I want to own this.
Right. Exactly.
Which I'll send you a link. I'm not going to mention it on here because I don't want to. I haven't read it, even though it's a friend of mine that wrote it. Comes out in January, but buddy of mine has a book coming out in January on the Second Amendment, from the perspective, or his perspective, because he is a guy that's been in the firearms industry for over 30 something years, and New York Times bestselling author and other things. So the guy's legit, but doesn't pull punches.
Oh,
so that's where I'm kind of like, this can go really good, or this could go right in the streets bad. I'm not quite sure which, but like I already pre-ordered it. I'm excited for it because it's a lot of stuff that he and I have talked. When I first met him, when he was, I hate saying up and coming author, but he's an up and coming author. And I reached out to him on Facebook when it was still new and got to talk to him at the time. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So throw that out there. But well, I'm going to jump off because the bathroom and my painkillers are calling my name. And getting around is still not that easy. So
this is already number one bestseller in political freedom.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's been that way since the day after he announced the pre-orders, which I think was 2 days ago. So
January 21st or 24th.
24th.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's cool. All right. Well,
I did put a shirt on for you. I just want to be very clear. I have not been wearing clothes since Tuesday.
Oh no, I understand.
But today I have my shorts. I got my shirt. I feel human. I took a shower last night. Yeah.
Yay.
Wasn't the greatest. It was a quick Nikki washed down my arm, and I didn't even wash my hair because I was like, I'm done. Get me out. My poor daughter fainted. Nikki took the pain pump out of my arm.
Yeah.
And my daughter was videotaping because I can't see it.
Yeah.
And she was okay with it. She's videotaping, and then all of a sudden she's like taking 2 steps back. I'm like, Angel, where are you going? And I saw her legs lock and her hip bend. And I'm like, she's passing out. Get her. And so Nikki, like, she's pulling on this. She turns around. She sees her kind of stumbling forward. And she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, she's passing out. She goes, oh. And like grabbed her. And as she's grabbing her, she kind of helped guide her down to the floor. Yeah. And then, of course, my daughter's like, how the hell did I get here? What's going on? And I'm like, oh, you passed out. And then that's when the shock hits and she starts crying. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I'm like, am I okay? Are you okay? Like, you fainted. Yeah.
Oh my god.
What was it? So I felt horrible, but she's been very proud. She's told everybody that she stopped videotaping before she passed out, so it wouldn't become a viral sensation.
Oh yeah, where the camera goes, whoa.
Yeah. No, it's you see the camera slowly pan out a little bit this way. It gets a little shaky, and then video's done.
Oh damn.
It's not like it was gory. It's just a little piece of plastic coming out. It hurt like hell.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, thank you for being on. I'll let you get to the bathroom. And for all of you who have tuned in, Gordon and Bobby, thank you for stopping by and saying hi. And but if you've watched this far, when it's not live, that means that we were somewhat entertaining. So give a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, share, all that kind of stuff. Hit that button, and I'll see you. Well, we both will see you Thursday, because we're going to talk about Prey, and I'm so excited. So I'm going to be pushing that. Everybody, you have to watch Prey.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about that on Thursday. Until then, I will see you all on Monday for my normal tea. So love to you all. If I can find my cursor here. And